So this morning we're joined with Claire Bishop of Ambitions Personnel. I've known Claire for quite a number of years now, and we look after both accounts, audit and a few other service lines, but thought it'd be really interesting to understand what makes the business tick. Why does Claire do what she does and what she enjoys most about it? So, morning Claire.
Morning.
So do you want to tell us a bit about Ambitions, where it started,
Yep.
where it is now and the journey that's been going on in between?
Yeah, so Ambitions started in 1990. My sister, Mandy, who's one of the other directors, started, she'd been in recruitment for a long time but worked down south because that's where we're initially from. So she was looking for an opportunity to start and decided that she would move up to Newark because my mum was living here at that point, and looked around, decided really that Newark was probably too small, so decided to go to Lincoln. At that point, which was in 1990, I think that there were probably 3-4 agencies, whereas if she'd have gone the Nottingham way, it would have been, there'd have been a lot more.
Yeah.
So she decided to go to Lincoln, and that was where the first branch opened, in a very tiny serviced office, just her and one person. And then over time, she won quite a few contracts. One of the first ones, I think they supplied Walker Smiths, the crisp factory, which is still there, but I think it's all automated now. So 5 years later, I decided to join the company. I was working in London, had enough of the commuting, to be honest. We then decided to open the branch in Newark. We then went to, I think, Grantham, and subsequently went to Mansfield Worksop and opened the rest of the branches. So we've always grown organically. So we've gone where we have some business rather than just thinking today, oh, let's go somewhere. So every branch has gone somewhere with a piece of business that we've already had. And what we've done is we've tried to get people from within our business to go and open those new branches so that we've got people who know how we work. And that's where we've ended up today. So we've now got 10 branches, I think, and probably half a dozen on-site offices throughout the East Midlands. We have got one in Essex because we had a client that was in Grantham that wanted us to supply, so we did open up in Essex. So it's in Colchester, near the seaside. So that's where we are now.
When you're saying about opening the branches where the work is, which ones are probably like the most successful compared to ones that I probably haven't worked with? Because I know Nottingham's always been a bit of a...
Nottingham's always been a challenge. We have realised, to be fair, we're very good in market town type of places. I know Lincoln's slightly different to that, but Lincoln is a city quite clearly, but it's not the same sort of as a Nottingham, because it's just not the amount of agencies there because there's not enough business there. So that's why Lincoln's a bit different. But for instance, Mansfield, Newark, Grantham, places like that, the smaller towns, we have been very successful. Our most successful branches are the bigger offices, to be fair. So that's probably Lincoln, Boston, Newark, Grantham. But they've been there probably the longest as well.
Standing.
So, in Newark, for instance, we've been here since, I say, we opened in 95. I have clients that we had from 30 years ago that I still have to this day. So, and that's what we're really proud of, is we do keep our clients.
When you've just mentioned actually about Walkers being more automated then, so does that... Is that a common theme across quite a lot of the industry in the number of people that you can get out to the factories?
Yeah, so the numbers in the factories and the warehouses have changed as well. Really, before COVID, a lot of the food factories in particular really ramped up for Christmas. So their production went up, they needed to recruit loads of extra workers. COVID obviously, in one way, what they've been able to do now is they've made it flatter throughout the year. So now they freeze stuff and things like that they haven't done before.
Right.
Now it is more costly to them because they've obviously got to store it while it's been frozen for a lot longer than they would, but it stops having to do that high recruitment. So for that's what's happened in the food factories, and more are putting automation in. At the end of the day, automation, it's a cost to start with, but the way the minimum wage keeps going up and the cost, the amount of money that you're having to pay now for a factory work. So I think, a lot of the factories and warehouses as well. One of the big warehouses in Newark used to, in the actual department it really ramped up for Christmas because of the style of the product. And so they would probably have to recruit an extra 200 or 300 people for that department. You've got to train them, you've got to get them in place. So they might only need them for 3 weeks, but they've got to have them for probably 3 weeks at least before to train them. That is, I think, going to be all automated. So I think they have to have quite a lot of investment start. So yes, it has changed. So where we put the workers has changed.
So with that then, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 years, how would Ambitions change their way in getting the people into the positions, I suppose, more than anything. Because how many have you got now sort of out there in factories?
I suppose they're on the payroll probably about 3,000 a week. I think what it is, we do quite a lot of the sort of higher end recruitment now, so the perm recruitment, so putting the engineers in. So we have a technical division now that we didn't used to have, because we realised that you know, now they need more of your skilled workers who can mind the machines, who can, you know, do that type of thing. So that's how we would change. I mean, listen, recruitment changes all the time, so we do change with it as it's happening, because we know, you know, come April they're changing all the employment rights. So that will have lots of changes for us. But the truth is, we tend not to worry too much about it, because it's the same for everybody, so we just go with it.
Yeah, very much so. With that then, I know you've opened up another sort of division in NHS sector, which is operating out of Leeds now, isn't it?
Yeah.
So that's another string to the bow, really, isn't it? And focusing on that side of things going forward.
Yeah, absolutely. So the Leeds office, they are, say, just looking after really the hospitals, universities and that type of thing. It is a completely different sector from what we've ever done before, but we took on somebody who was a specialist in that. So I think it's been about 18 months now. It's slow, but that sort of goes in, you know, sometimes they recruit lots of people. I know in COVID, the client he worked for before said that they just recruited so many people to open up the Nightingale Hospital. So they just recruited all these people they didn't even really use. So it's definitely, it's a slow one. It's not a quick, but that will be something that we're hoping it will come to fruition, and we will get the rewards of that. Yeah, and Leeds is a very nice city to go to.
Yeah, it is. So from that then, what's your biggest bugbear or frustrating thing about running a business?
If I'm honest, we have challenges all the way, but there isn't one particular thing. I don't come to work and worry about any of it, to be truthful, Jordan. It is what it is.
Yeah.
So we have really good teams that work for us. I mean, the new regulations coming out in April, will be a challenge. The new thing around sick pay is going to be very hard to manage, because the nature of the work is a lot of temps aren't booked as a person, they're booked as a number. So, you know, if they're not in continuous work, I might not need them tomorrow, the next day anyway. So if they're suddenly off sick, I don't want to be paying them sick pay, and nobody will want to be paying them sick pay. I know they're saying that yes, some people do need sick pay, and I absolutely get that, but there will be a lot of people who suddenly think, oh, I'm not going to bother going in today because I'm going to get sick pay anyway, which they wouldn't do now. So that will be a challenge. But it's a challenge for everybody. It
is for everyone. And also the national insurance costs, passing those on, whether or not that's going to fit with the customer, who's going to then have to pass on those to the products as well.
I mean, if it's legislation that changes, then it is just passed straight on. But as you say, they're then passing that on to somebody else. So at the end of the day, it's going, you know, it just goes down the chain, doesn't it? Yeah. So everybody's going to charge that bit more to everybody else. So at the end of the day, we're then going to pay more for whatever that product is.
Yeah. What's then something that you're really proud of?
Proud of keeping it all together. You know, coming to work every day, keeping everybody happy. So really it's continuing to keep everybody happy and not having sleepless nights and not worrying about it.
From your perspective, obviously you've got long-standing clients and things, how often, from a touch point perspective, because are you, generally speaking, as you progress and as you build the business, the directors and the sort of seniors sort of drift back and let the business operate, but you're very much in it on a daily basis.
Listen, because we have certain clients. I mean, we won a contract in Mansfield that are probably probably 7 or 8 years ago, probably now. But I always remember she said that what happened was when the agency that had it before us, when they went in and got the business, they were all, you know, the directors were there, the whoever, blah, 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 senior people. And she said they did that for a year and then it dropped off. And she said that was one of her bugbears about it, was because they came in, they wanted it, and then once it wasn't important enough anymore, they moved on. Yeah. So, no, I am going to Colchester on Tuesday, 2.5 hours there, 2.5 hours back if I'm lucky, just because that is a client that will want to see me. Yeah. We take our clients to the races in the summer, and we probably get 120, 130 clients there. You know, so we don't know, we still mix with them, we still see them. I think it's important. It's a bit like me. If I'm talking to the bank, I want to speak to the bank manager that came to see me. I don't want to speak to somebody else. I want to speak to the one that told me what he was going to do.
So many companies that we deal with go through so many bank managers and nobody knows where they are. And I think if they're a certain size, then they're just in a pool.
Yeah.
And then actually there's no answers that they get back in, and as well, and there's a few in Newark that I know clients-wise that are in a pool and they've not actually got a person that they can go to at the bank. But then 10, 15 years ago, you did have that bank manager.
You really had a bank manager.
And they'd come over, they'd want to understand it because that lending or whatever that was that you needed was personal because they understood the business. Right, curveball question then. So as a business this year, we as TC have been working on sort of 3 strategic priorities for our business: growth, client experience, and continuous improvement. And that continuous improvement for us is across all our service lines. How can we better what we're doing, whether that's from a systems and process or client facing? So for you as a business, what would you continuously improve or look at to do for, say, 26, and go, what can we work on internally that's going to better how we deliver to our clients?
One thing that we always know is we need to train our internal staff when they're new, because we do rest on our laurels a bit, because the people who have been here forever give a very good level of service. They know everything, they understand it. We are conscious that when new people join, how they get that experience. If they're in a busy branch, if somebody comes to Newark and works in here, they're surrounded by people who know what they're doing, and so it's easier. But if you send them to a branch where there's perhaps only 2 or 3 people, so we know that our training has to be good to make sure we keep everybody else happy. We want growth. So we're investing in some new software because we know that if we want to move with everybody else, we need to do that. So it's quite an investment to start with. But we do, to grow, that's what we need to do. So I think that would be the main things for us.
I suppose then, final one, so when we wrap it up, is what have you learned about yourself as a business owner? Patience, tolerance?
Yes, patience and tolerance come with age and time, because definitely didn't have them 35 years ago. I'm not very tolerant even to this day. But I think probably what I have learned is, although Mandy and I are sisters, we're very different. That helps, because we've definitely got the 2 sides of it. She's very more level-headed than me. Doesn't really blow hot and cold. I definitely do. But we probably bounce off each other a little bit. It works. Probably wouldn't work if we were both the same. So I've learnt to be more tolerant, but that's not one of my things. I like being in charge. That's probably what I've learned about me. I like delegating. I'm a really, really good delegator. Nothing gets missed, because if I'm not doing it, I'm making sure someone else is doing it. And actually, if someone's better at me at doing it, I'm happy to let them do it.
I think but then that gives you scope as director, as the owner, to do what you do best, and whether that's sales and still being sort of vertical shop floor, seeing those clients and building those relationships. They're getting that experience from the people that I suppose more so matter in terms of holding on to those relationships as well.
Well, because it's who they bought off in the first place. Because if you think, if I've had a relationship with a client for 20, 25 years, whatever that might be, they originally bought off me. That would have been me that went and got that relationship, and they're still there. Because what I do know, especially locally around here, the senior team at these clients, they don't change.
No, I agree with that.
So that's what I think.
Lovely. Right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Claire, thank you for your time.
Brilliant.
Thank you.